Sairam, Sister Manika, for that beautiful, generous introduction. I love you so much, and I was so happy to hear you would be introducing me. I offer my humble pranams at the lotus feet of our beloved Baba for this sharing time, which he has divinely blessed me with and guided. My life is his message. His message is my life. That is what I'm going to speak on today. That is what he has directed me with today. And I've been praying for him to make sure and confirm every detail. And one small little Leela came this morning with this message that goes right along with what I'm going to share with you today. So let's take a look and listen to what Swami says about his message. Right, as usual, he makes it very clear on what we are supposed to do. He came to live it, and he shares his messages every day through many of us. It's not enough, he said. It's not enough to call yourself a messenger. You have to spread the divine message. Fortunate are those who pay heed to God's words. Discharge your duty of spreading the message. Sri Sathya Sai Baba, December 25th, 1998. Christmas Day. And this brings me to my message. You may be wondering, what does Christmas Day have to do with October 3rd? Well, you're about to find out. And Christmas Day, to me, is very special. So one of the ways that we spread his message and we inspire each other, which is especially needed at this time, is sharing his miracles, sharing his leelas. It reminds us who we are in him and who he is in us. So back in 2010, as you heard in the introduction, I was blessed by Swami to be on his mission, to visit his schools, to teach the values, to live the values, to be his instrument and dedicate my whole heart, which I walked across that fire and did. I saw him on the other side, and he took my hand, and he's never let go, no matter how hard it is, especially when it gets dark. Well, 6 months later, I had got my SSE training, and I also, was just really in love with his teachings and his mission. It was just everything I dreamed of. And my faith was so much stronger. Even still, I knew who he was in Christ, because being raised a Christian, Jesus was everything to me. But they are one and the same to me. And it was Christmas Eve. My parents had been gone since I was a young girl. They passed. I'm not married. I wasn't married at the time, and I don't have children of my own. I have thousands of his children that he's placed with me as an educator. So needless to say, I was really sad, because most of my life, Christmas and Christmas Eve, is the joy of being with family and sharing it with your loved ones. And my siblings were all away in a different place with their families. So I was really disheartened and really sad. So much so to the point to where I cried myself to sleep. And I just was hurting in my heart. I felt alone. Even after being blessed by Swami and knowing who he is, and being a woman of strong faith, There's something about sharing special celebrations with family members and people that you love that makes a difference. So I literally cried myself to sleep. And I remember the last thing I said was, I'm just going to die alone with a broken heart. That's how much in grief and despair I was. I'm just going to die alone with a broken heart. That was about 10:30, as best as I can remember. Christmas morning, like at 2 a.m. that morning, I woke up and I had a really bad pain in my chest and I couldn't breathe. And I couldn't catch my breath. I couldn't breathe. And pain was going up the left side of my arm, and I couldn't move. It literally felt like I was paralyzed. And my phone was to the right side of my bed. And I was feeling all of this in my left side, and I wasn't breathing. And I couldn't get to my phone to call anyone or even call 911. And I just remember I stopped breathing. And the next thing I remember was I went outside of my body and I was on the ceiling looking down. And in comes Baba. He walks in and he's standing with me looking down on my body. And he said, "What did you do?" And I said, "Baba, what did I do? I couldn't breathe. My heart, like it just gave out. It was so heavy and I couldn't breathe." And he looked me in the face, solid eye to eye, and said, "What did you say?" And so I had to think for a moment. And then I remembered. I said, "I'm just going to die alone with a broken heart." And Swami said, "You are God. You are so powerful. You manifested your own death." And I was in shock. I had no idea what to say or what to do. I mean, literally, the Lord was telling me I did this. And so he reached in to my chest, like down on the bed. He reached into my chest and he pulled my heart out and he showed it to me. He held it up to the light and it had all these dark spots. He goes, "See, look at that. You see all those dark places?" And I could see like my veins, like that were in my heart and everything, but I could see all these black places. And he said, "That is the pain of your past." And he put my heart in both of his hands. He cupped it in his hands and he blew on it like this. And then he held it back up to the light. And all I could see was light. He literally had removed all the dark places. And he said, "You see that? Gone. The past is the past. The future is not here yet. The present is now in the omnipresent. You have a lot of work to do. I am not done with you yet." And he put my heart back into my chest, literally, and slapped my chest, and my spirit flew back into my body. Now, at this point, I came in and I could feel so much pain. I don't even know how to describe the pain I was feeling around what had happened. My left arm, my fingers, my shoulder, like this whole area, I couldn't I couldn't operate or move any of it. It was in so much pain. I finally got to the other side of the bed, though, to call 911. So I called 911. The firemen came. They came in, they came upstairs. They had to knock my door down because it was locked and everything. And they took me, and I was crying, just so emotional around what had happened. And I was pretty much in shock. There was a lot going on with really thinking, okay, did that really happen? And did God really come to me and bring me back? I mean, is this really real? So I was explaining it to them. I was trying to tell them, and I was crying. I was saying how God came, that I literally had passed and that I could see my body. And they were, they were caring for me so lovingly. I know that was all Swami. So they brought me to the hospital and took me right in, because anything to do with your heart right away, so they took me in, and they had like 3 different doctors, and they were doing all the tests on me. They did the blue dye, the MRI, everything, and I, like, I'm a healthy person, a vegetarian, but just taking good care, making good choices. So even like at that point, and I was still pretty young. And so they were like, they couldn't figure it out. They were running all the tests, and like I was still kind of out of it. And the doctors came in and they said, we just like, here's your results. Like, we just don't get this. We don't understand. We don't see anything. You're so healthy, like from your blood pressure to your, everything. All the MRIs, they show a really healthy, beautiful heart. And of course, being real and just speaking my truth and being authentic, I said, God did that. God did that, because he came in. I passed away. I was looking at my body. God did that for me. He did that for me. I'm a miracle. And 2 of the doctors were men. And so they were like, okay, we don't believe in this type of stuff. We just know that you're an anomaly. We can't figure you out. So the female doctor goes out and she gets my results again. And she said, Jan, the only thing we can figure out is that you had an anxiety attack mimicking a heart attack. Because I had told them, that I'd cried myself to sleep and that I was sad. But they said that's the only thing that they could figure out. And at that point, when she said that, I just heard Baba's voice saying, you did this. The anxiety attack comes on, when we can't really control what's happening, but even more when the spoken word comes out and says, I'm just going to die alone from a heart attack. So I was remembering Baba's words and everything. And so like I had nerve damage on my whole left arm, my whole left side. So they ordered, like physical therapy and treatments for me. And, like I had to call a taxi. I didn't even know anyone I could call, or I couldn't think of anyone I could call. So I was really hurting, but still kind of on, pain meds and everything. But I get in the back of that taxi, and I just remember saying to him, just don't mind me. I'm going to have a coming to God in the back seat. When I was young, we used to call it like a talk with the Lord. We used to call it a coming to Jesus. But I was literally having a coming to Jesus or coming to Baba talk in the back of that taxi seat. And, I just started talking to him out loud and saying, you have to help me. I'm scared. And I know some damage has been done here myself. And I know you told me, how powerful I am in this way and the things we can do to ourselves. But I need proof. I need something from you. I need a sign, a clear sign, because I'm really scared and I need you. And I literally commanded his presence. I have to have something. So he lets me off. He's so thoughtful. He made sure I got into the house. The door was still messed up. And I literally kind of crawled upstairs to my puja room, like my room where I have like a candle. I have Swami's pictures. I had his chair there too. And I just got down, like on my hands and knees to pray to him. And I just said, Lord, thank you for saving me. Thank you. Thank you for loving me. Thank you. And I opened my eyes and I looked on the seat of his chair. And there was a heart necklace. I couldn't believe it. I lifted it up and I held it up to the light. And it looked exactly like my heart after he had healed it and cleared it. I have it on today. You see the holes with the light through it? How it shows the light through it? It's like, and the veins, like the gold strands. I don't know how well you can see it, but it's exactly my healed heart that he gave me. He gave me. Like it doesn't get more clear than that, right? And there is, there's also a story of losing it, having it fall off, and then having him bring it back to me. And that's for another day. But today is about Christmas 2010. Christmas has always been the most special day of the year to me besides Easter. Not to even mention that Baba ascended on Easter to prove once again, he is my Jesus. But beyond that, he calls us to share his message, to live his message of love, and to be his true divine instrument. Sometimes we need a shakeup, and that's what happened for me. I am here to tell you, literally, the Lord owns my heart. But he does live inside of all of us, inside of our hearts. We just have to receive it and believe it. And what happens when we believe it? When we believe him, we believe what he says. We believe that we are God and that he is too. And that no matter what is happening in the world, he's alive within our world. He is the Atma that we are. He is the divine love that we are called to share and to be and to trust and to have unbridled faith. Faith in him, that he's got us. He's got our situations. He's got our circumstances. Not only that, everything that's happening to us is happening for our good. And believing him is following him. Believing him is living his message and having his message be our life. He came in human form as divine so that we could relate to him, so we could see the way. He showed us the way. He gave us so many teachings. He taught us to draw out the truth and love and to spread love And he says all he wants is our love. All he wants is our love. He says, my main tasks are fostering the Vedas or scriptures and fostering of devotion. Your virtue, your self-control, your faith, your steadfastness. These are the signs by which people read of my glory. He said that in a divine discourse. This is how people read of his glory, our faith, our staying steadfast, no matter what happens, our one pointed focus and connection with him. He's a God who meets us where we are. He came to where I was. He comes to where we are. We don't have to go out there or go to certain places. He's an all-inclusive God. He includes all of us, all faiths, all walks of life, no matter who we are. We just have to offer our hearts to him and fully trust him. It's so critical to learn these things the easy way. Otherwise, like me, it gets a little tough when you take yourself to those dark places. And I'm not saying anything like that will be happening for any of you. I'm just saying I'm so grateful the Lord of love loved me enough to keep me here and to instruct me, to correct me, to tell me and show me how powerful I am. Powerful in the same way he is, if I believe. So the importance of our good company, our good thoughts, our immersion in his teachings, in his quotes, in his discourses, in his word, it keeps him alive in us, and it draws others to us who want to know what that is. What that is. It's his divine love. It will show his glory. And if we love him, we will follow him, follow his teachings, follow his ways. Let us be inspired and live his glory. You know, today, that video that I showed at the beginning was, you know, like every moment there are miracles. Our breath, our heartbeat. There's so many beautiful miracles, but that video was his confirmation on living his divine message. I have to say to you, I haven't shared in an open setting like this story. I literally hold it close to my heart. But today, he said, today is the day. And why share about that? Because we need to remember who we are, that he chose us to be his messengers, his instrument, and to share it with the world even more now. You know, Swami says that the doctors or people say that we get sick from deficiencies of vitamins. But he says the only deficiency we have is the G vitamin deficiency, which means God, the G vitamin. So take that into your heart and say his name. Say his name, repeat his name, sing his glory, have pure faith, and everything will be all right. Everything. He will show you the way. And one last thing. Right before I came on, there was a beautiful video that automatically started playing on my YouTube. And guess what it was? Something I'd never seen before. It was Christmas with Swami in 2002. And the opening song that they were singing in that beautiful white robe at Christmas time was, "Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Sigh, cry, sigh, the Lord. Come one, come all. Let us not be ungrateful called. Let us faithfully serve him, sigh, and love him, love him, love him. Sai Ram.